Welcome back inside the Mountain West Network studio for the 2021 Mountain West Men's Basketball Media Days. I'm Bridget Howard alongside Jesse Kurtz, and for our third stop of the day on day 2 of Media Days, we'll now head to Reno, Nevada to catch up with the head coach of the Wolfpack, head coach Steve Alford. Coach, good to see you. How are things in Reno? What's new?
Thank you. Yeah, it's going well. Obviously, like a lot of teams, you're about midway through October now, and things have gone well. We're pretty healthy, which is always key. I think October is always a month where you're trying to get a lot of stuff in and continue what's happened in the summer and the fall workouts and keep building on that from a team perspective, but also try to stay healthy. And so far that's happened, and we're fortunate that way.
Well, if you've got a question for Coach Alford, please make sure to raise your hand to enter the queue. Coach, this is one of the first years at Nevada for you where you've had a roster nearly full of players that you went out and recruited and brought to Nevada. So what do you like about what you've got heading into this season?
Yeah, for the first time, I think we're deep in every position. So we've got good depth. So the competition entire summer and fall has been terrific. And you're coming out of COVID. We're now a big part of what I think is about our program is development. And we've been able to have our guys in April. We've had them all summer. We've had them in September. And now you're obviously in the official practices. So we've had that developmental stage. And I think we're seeing a lot of progress. We're seeing a lot of guys that have, I think, really grown, matured, gotten better. And because of our depth, I think that helps us moving forward. We're big. We're athletic. We're actually big in every position. So I think the pieces of the puzzle that we've tried to fit together going into year 3 here, we like where we're at. And now hopefully we can stay healthy and keep getting better.
Well, first up for questions for you, Coach, we'll go to the San Diego Union Tribune and catch up with Mark Ziegler.
Coach, the other 2 teams picked in the top 3 with you, Colorado State and San Diego State, were able to schedule very difficult non-conference games. I look at your schedule, I think you only have 1 Power 5, and that was Washington, who's been in the bottom of the Pac-12. Was that by design, or is that just an inability to find teams? And are you worried that when you get into March and Selection Sunday, that could come back to bite you?
Yeah, no, we're not worried about that at all. I think it's what you do. I've been in this league a long time. I've seen teams that had schedules where they won them all and did well and then did poorly, or teams that scheduled very difficult, won some, lost some. It's going to come down to that January, February push that we're mounting to, but our schedule was kind of tied. We didn't have a lot of options because of the COVID year. In the COVID year, we had some things in our schedule that we had to play that now we have to return to, and we've got to return those games. And because of that, we kind of got locked in. We were supposed to play in a Vegas tournament that had 3 other Power 5 schools in it, and that Vegas tournament fell apart. And we were very fortunate that we were able to get in the tournament that's sponsored by Sanford, a great tournament in South Dakota that we're very excited to be a part of. So a lot of it had to do with not having a lot of freedom because of the COVID games that we had to take on because we couldn't do a lot of traveling then. California was shut down for the most part, so we had to play a lot of those teams over at our place, and now we've got to return those games. So we like where we're at. I think it's going to be a demanding schedule. Our guys were playing more than half our games away from home. So we've got a chance to build our resume if we can hold serve at home and then go away from home, playing 4 legit road games and 3 neutral games. It's going to give us a chance to build what we need to build before we get into league play.
And on a different topic, you've got a couple coaches in this league new this year who don't have any familiarity with this league. You've been in it a long time. You understand the idiosyncrasies of the league. And in recent years, the teams that have been successful have been coached by guys who've been in the league for a while, either as an assistants or head coaches. What kind of advice would you give to those coaches? And what is it about this league that is so unique that makes it so difficult for people from the outside to succeed?
Yeah, I don't think it's advice. Obviously, I've been doing this a long time. So in a lot of different areas of the country and a lot of different leagues, and maybe leagues are a little bit different, but I've been very fortunate, very blessed that in each league I've been a part of, and now the Mountain West the second time, there's always been very good coaches. And I think the one thing we do as coaches, I think regardless of how long you've been doing it, you learn from one another. You watch enough film, you get to see things that are done the way you like to do them, or this is going to be a difficult thing to defend and we've got to spend more time on it. So I think if there's any advice, and again, I don't think it's advice, it's just as much as respect this league. It's a great league. It's a very well coached league with outstanding players in arenas that very much, and a fan base that very much support their team. So, and I think you're seeing that grow now in the Mountain West, and you're seeing some things across the country with the American Conference now with what's happened there. I think we've always been right there with them. And now I think you're going to see the Mountain West just continue to rise. And a lot of that has to do a little bit with coaches maybe, but I think even more so with the players of this league. We get very, very good players in this league.
Next question for you, Coach, coming from Chris Murray from Nevada Sportsnet.
Hey, Coach, I know you've talked a lot about this team needing to be better on defense to reach its potential. I'm curious, is it harder to have a great offensive team or to have a great defensive team, and why?
That's hard. It's probably a hard question. It probably has to do with skill set. I think offensively, especially players that we're recruiting, and I think your top teams probably would say the same thing, that you get guys that can make shots. It always helps. It covers a multitude of sins, but your championship teams are driven by teams then that can be very efficient offensively, but have the ability to get stops. And when you have off nights, you're able to win because you get stops. So that's been our basis since April. It's got to be a team that, and they bought in, they're working at it. We've still got a long way to go. I do think we're going to be a hard team to defend because we've got weapons at every position and we've got depth in those positions that can score the basketball. But it is going to be a key to us advancing and really competing for a championship of just where we develop defensively. And I like where we're at mid-October. We're making some growth, but we got a long way to go. And if we can do those things, I think we're going to be a team that's has the potential to be hard to play against.
Grant was obviously named the conference preseason player of the year. Have you had a talk with him about not trying to maybe live up to that expectation? I know you've discussed the next step he needs to take is the leadership and making others around him better. I guess, how do you get that out of a player where it's not just about what they do individually, but how they impact the people who they're playing with?
No, not really. Obviously, we're happy for him, and you know, the preseason stuff, whether it be individually or collectively, of how what your bid is or where your boat is, and it doesn't have as much stick to it as it does postseason. And so, if I have said anything to Grant, it's like congratulations, because that's a great honor to start the season. But it's the postseason, especially team accolades that we're after. And Grant is a terrific player. He's obviously a player, I think, that demands a lot of attention from opponents. And I think what he's got this year is he's got more weapons around him, and that should make him even more efficient than what he was last year, because he can trust a lot more top to bottom on this team, because inside and out, we've got a lot of weapons that can score the basketball and take a lot of pressure off of him. You know, Dez takes on a lot of attention offensively. Grant took on a lot of attention last year, but outside of that, you know, I think it was really those two. And if you could shut down one or both, it presented problems for us. And now I think we're going into a season where a lot of their pressure and load and pressure of scoring won't be as great. And it doesn't mean their scoring production is going down. It just means I think they can be more efficient. And if they can continue to grow defensively and help these young guys grow and new players grow, then I think we have a chance to be really good.
Thank you, Chris. If you would like to participate and have a question for Coach Alford, go ahead and raise your hand. We'll get you in queue. Our next stop, Andrew Nepson from KTVN in Reno.
Hey, Coach, with all the transfers you've brought in, who do you feel really could make the biggest impact quickest with your guys?
Yeah, I don't ever like singling somebody out. I think that I like all the guys, obviously I love the guys that are returning, because they bring experience and they get what we do. They understand what we do and how we do it and why we're doing things. And now it's the transfers that need to figure that out as well. And I think getting out of COVID and having them all summer, that has helped immensely. but our newcomers are good. Our newcomers are big, they're athletic, they can score the basketball, and they potentially have the ability to be very good defenders. So we like all, including our freshmen. Our freshmen have been doing a really good job. So, but when you look at newcomers, and Will Baker was a top 30 recruit coming out of high school, and he's been at Texas for a year and a half, and been here for over almost a year now. So we've had him on campus and now eligible to go. And that's 7 foot, 245-pound center that can play inside and out, which I think is going to be huge for our offense. You got AJ Brahma, who was a 21-10 guy at Robert Morris, and is a very explosive athlete that can guard all 5 positions on the court. He's going to help us defensively. He's a terrific rebounder, and he can score in a lot of ways. Keenan Blacksheer is a 6'6", 220 guard. So we immediately get big. We get big not just in the front court, but in the back court. And I like Keenan's demeanor. Strong physical guard, can score a lot of ways, and can really defend. So these are guys that we're gonna lean on heavily, because I think they've got a chance to take us to that next spot. And again, guys like Warren, guys like Dez, KJ, Grant, these guys now have guys that can help them around them, both offensively and defensively. And so I think now you've got some really efficient, talented players that were back from a year ago that can really become more efficient in this year because of just being having a little bit more depth and talent in each position.
And Coach, what would an NCAA tournament appearance in your 3rd season here at Nevada? What do you think this would do for the program, and how confident are you that you could get to that point of the season?
Well, that's what we're building towards. Last year, I thought we did a lot of good things. The year before, we did a lot of good things. We didn't have Daniel Foster for about 2.5 months of the season last year. Trey Coleman was a freshman and had a really good year. These guys have had great summers, and now they're healthy. They've gotten bigger. They've grown in their skill sets. So all these guys, I think, that have been here are a little bit better. And yet the first 2 years we've been in the upper echelon of the league. So we were able to come in. Obviously, Coach Muss did a great job, and they were winning championships here. And then they were the oldest team. And so we lost a lot. So we had a lot of revamping of the roster that had to take place. And now as we enter year 3, all these guys are our guys, and it's a puzzle that we fit together. And we really like what that puzzle looks like. Now it's just growing, trusting one another, building our chemistry as a team, trying to stay healthy and get better each week. And if we can do that, we're going to put ourselves in a position. I think we're one of those teams that can put ourselves in a position in that last 2 or 3 weeks to compete for a championship. And if you do that, then you're setting yourself up for March. And got a lot of games to be played, a lot of practices, a lot of time yet. But obviously it's going to be how we evolve month to month. And if we can do that, I like our chances. But it's getting an NCAA bid's not easy. That's a very difficult thing to do in today's climate. So we're hopeful. That's our goal. And now it's just about going out and playing the games and seeing if we can reach that.
Thank you, Andrew. Next up, the Albuquerque Journal and Jeff Grammer.
Steve, how you doing?
Very good, Jeff.
The question Mark asked earlier about kind of new coaches and learning this league and all that kind of stuff. Something related to that. One of the things people talk about this league about when they've been through it is the home courts. And last year, obviously, there weren't fans in any of these home courts. Is that the return of the fans to the courts in this league? Can you speak to that a little bit? But obviously in New Mexico, it was even a different beast where they weren't allowed to play a game in the state of New Mexico the entire season. So the return to home courts league wide, but also the advantage of the pit for a team like New Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, there's some great home court advantages in this league, and we've got one of them here in Reno, and our ticket sales are skyrocketing. So we like what's happening and the excitement. We just had our starting 5 banquet last night, a sold out convention room so there's a lot of enthusiasm around it. So it's going to be a lot of fun getting the fans back in. We've got, just like all the other teams, other than maybe Utah State last year, all of us were playing in front of about 50 fans, 100 maybe max, and in some great venues that have great support from student bodies to their normal season ticket holders. So to have them back in the buildings is going to be huge. We got sophomores, just like everybody across the country, that they haven't played in any of these venues that had fans in them. And it takes on a whole different element when you've got sold out places. And I think that's, again, a very big positive thing on the basketball side in the Mountain West Conference. We have great venues that are big venues and have a chance to put a lot of people in it. And I think you're going to feel that energy in the non-conference, but by the time we really crank things up in January, we're hoping that playing 7 games away from home helps get us ready for what's going to be a very difficult conference run because of all the different facilities you got to play in that really support their student athletes. And that's going to be fun for our guys.
Steve, Tim mentioned yesterday the Big Ten. There's a group of Big Ten coaches in this league now. There's 3 of them, and if you count Steve Fisher and the influence he brought from Michigan, do you see in any small way? I'm not suggesting this is like the Big Ten, but do you see in any small way a potential stamp on the Mountain West that can come from that Big Ten kind of what people view as the Big Ten rebounding and defense and physical kind of mindset that people think of the Big Ten? Can you see that in the Mountain West?
Yeah, to some degree, but we are West Coast, and I think it's a little bit more up and down. So I do think it's a little bit faster for most of us. Different programs have different philosophies on that. We want to play fast at both ends, so we're not going to change with that. I think it's just getting. You're coming from the Big Ten, you get a lot of good experience, whether that was Coach Pitino, Coach Miles, myself, Coach Dutcher. We've all had some Big Ten experiences, but it's a different animal. Everywhere you go, every league you go, it's a whole different deal, and you learn the pluses and minuses of each program and the things that they're trying to do. And so whether you're in the Big Ten, whether you're in the Mountain West, I've always think it's here's somebody's strength. Can you take some of that strength away and make them maybe play to their weaknesses? And those teams that can do that and better do that are usually the teams that rise to the top. So, I don't know if my experience in the Big Ten, either as a player, as a coach, has a lot to do with what I'm doing now. I know I've gained a lot of experiences both playing in that league and then coaching in that league that's probably formed how I do things and what I want to do as a coach and how that is then communicated to the players.
Next up, Coach, we'll go to John Tiedel from Hoops HD.
Good afternoon, Coach. If all goes well, I think you might end up in the top 100 on the all-time coaching wins list by the end of this season. So my questions, have you taken any time this year to reflect on the legacy you've built? And what do you think has been the biggest change in the profession during the past 3 decades?
Yeah, no, not really. The off season's been a lot about just what we always do when we have, obviously getting out of COVID. Now we've got our guys here. So it's about protecting them. It's about growing them and really trying to help them. And sometimes that's off the court. Sometimes that's on the court. It's in the classroom, but just doing the things, the pillars in our program that mean the most to us and challenging our guys in that way. So that's what we've always done. The legacy part, I'm getting old. I hope I'm not to that point yet of winding it down. I think there's still a lot left from that standpoint. I've been very blessed. If I look back on anything at my age, I'll be 57 next month, and I'm in my 31st year as a head coach at 6 different institutions that have been incredible institutions for me and my family. We have grown immensely with the friendships we've developed. The staffs I've had have been tremendous. I've been so blessed to coach such incredible players and special players that now some of them still playing, some of them gone on to do different things I'm so proud of. So I think that's when you start looking back over the years and the places and the people that sometimes as a head coach, a lot of people on the outside want to think about who you've touched. And I guess if I reflect, it's about the number of people that have touched me. And that's been my staff, my former players, administrators, boosters and fans of those particular places. That's what I look back, and it's been so meaningful to us. And then hopefully we're kind of instilling those type of things in our players currently here at the University of Nevada.
Well, thank you so much for your questions to all the media members. We appreciate you asking your questions. We're sorry we couldn't get to all of them. Coach Alford, you are a popular guy, so we appreciate you taking some time out of your day to sit down with us, and we're excited to see the Wolfpack get back out on the floor.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, Jesse, this Nevada team, this is an exciting team to watch out for in the Mountain West this season. No doubt they return nearly They returned 6 players who started at least one game last season.
Well, if there's anyone who knows how to win championships in this league, it's Steve Alford, and he's won championships everywhere he's been. And then you give him players that fit his style and understand the goals that he has for a team. Could be very dangerous. And you talk about the scores that they have, the very unselfish players that they have. Of course, Grant Sherfield being one of them, Desmond Cambridge Jr. Being one of them. Absolutely, this team receives some first place votes. Will be a team that challenges when we get to the Thomas and Mack Center for an automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. And Coach Alford talked about that's tough to do. It's very tough to do in college basketball right now.
Very tough to do. And you mentioned the players that are returning this year, but also Coach Alford talked about the transfers. We'll see Will Baker, AJ Brahma, Keenan Blacksheer, a couple guys who can really make an impact and maybe even arguably could make a run at Mountain West Newcomer of the Year.
Well, and Nevada's had a heck of a run when it comes to newcomers of the year, back-to-back years now that Coach Alford has brought in a player, learns under his system, flourishes in his system, and goes on to be a Mountain West Newcomer of the Year. So no question about it that when Coach Alford gets his hands and Craig Neal gets his hands on players, he can make them very, very dangerous and very, very good basketball players very quick. And without further ado, let's head back to Reno, Nevada, and bring in a couple of those players who fit that bill, a couple of guys who came in from other programs to learn and flourish under Coach Alford, talking about Desmond Cambridge Jr. and also Grant Sherfield. Fellas, appreciate you making some time for us. How's life in Reno right now?
Pretty good. Can't complain.
Awesome. I think we're having a little bit problems here. We'll see if we can bump that audio. But fellas, let's start with you, Grant. Preseason Player of the Year. They only give that honor to one person in this league, and we heard from many, many coaches and players throughout the last couple of days about how good this league is right now, the type of players, the type of coaching. For you to be identified as the preseason Player of the Year, how big of an honor?
I mean, it's a pretty big honor. But I mean, I just feel that it's a reflection of, our coaching staff and how well they do in putting us in positions to be successful here as a whole. And, with that being said, I'm really just trying to come in with the same chip I had on my shoulder last year. So I'm not really thinking about it that much, honestly.
So if you have a question for Desmond Cambridge Jr. or Grant Sherfield, go ahead and raise your hand. We'll get you in the queue and we'll get you participating. Desmond, I'm going to allow you to talk about your teammate here. What sort of impact does Grant Sherfield make on the basketball floor, and how does he make you guys better, and why was he named the preseason Mountain West Player of the Year?
He's really like a floor general, like a great point guard. He literally it reminds me back in the days when I was a kid and I would go play at the park. He's just one of those players who naturally has an instinct for the game, can dribble, can do really everything on the court. And all that attention that he brings makes it easier for guys like myself who play off the ball more to be open, because everyone's focused on him and he can really see the floor, make the right pass, but also make and create his own shot. So it's really deserved for him getting preseason Player of the Year. And it just adds, I don't know. It's just he's a great player, and so that's what he deserves. And as a team, he's gonna make us get to the place where we want to be. So I'm really proud of him, and we're excited for the season.
Well, we've got some questions for you both in the queue, so we'll now go to Chris Murray from Nevada Sportsnet.
Hey, Grant, I just wanted to ask you about Will Baker. Unless I'm wrong, I think you guys kind of grew up together and were friends. Just talk a little bit about your help in recruiting him here and what you think you guys will be able to unlock that maybe he wasn't able to show at Texas.
Yeah, Will, we're both from Texas and we're currently roommates right now. So I wouldn't say like we were close friends growing up, but in Texas, when you play AAU, how we played, you always see great players and you meet each other. You either meet each other at camps or at tournaments. So I knew Will before this, and on him recruiting here, it was really easy. He really liked Coach Alford. He knew who we had coming back. last year. So it was really a no-brainer for him. And I feel that he's fitting in great with the team. And I feel like he's going to be really big for us this year.
And then for Des, I mean, this team seems so much deeper than it was last year. How would you compare the level of competition in practice and just for playing minutes this year compared to what you guys had last year when you didn't have as many proven D1 players?
Man, it's honestly crazy. Like just within the past month or two, just going to practice every day, you have to bring a certain level and certain energy of play just to compete in practice. And it makes all of us better just because like the skill set is just so high. And so if you come not ready to play that day, you will get embarrassed, and it's not a good feeling. So that really raises the level of play through everybody. And that's the kind of environment that I love to be in because I'm super competitive, and I think we all are. So it's made us all get better as a team.
We'll now go to John Teetle from Hoops HD.
My question's for Grant. Grant, it seems like you led the conference in everything last year, points and assists and steals and free throws. What is the next evolution of your game? Is it just doing everything better, or is there one specific area that you're going to try to focus on this year?
Really, when I talk to Coach Alford about getting better this year and just evolving, it's really just for me probably going to be from the neck up, just helping our guys in a lot of aspects of the game and just really learning how to lead a team this year. Because if you want to be a great point guard, you got to be a great leader. And so that's really what I'm just trying to work on this year, just helping lead this great group of guys to a Mountain West championship. If that's what we want.
Next up, we'll go to KTVN TV in Reno with Andrew Nepson.
Desmond, just a real broad question for you. What really, when you think about all the different things that a season brings with it, what really excites you the most about it?
Well, yeah, pretty broad. So I guess I could start with just the different feel, like your day-to-day things that you do, what you're thinking about, just being locked into the season. And we're student athletes, so we gotta have class every day. But during the season, man, that really your focus on the game, focus on your opponent, what you're trying to do, and yeah, it's just a great season. And also, we're really just looking forward to getting better every day. Building on, like, say we have a game Monday. We focus on, what we did or didn't do, keep trying to get better because, it's a long season and we're not going to be as best as we're going to be from the first game. So we're just trying to consistently get better and reach for our goal.
Last question for you both. I've seen on social media, you guys have done some fun Friday workouts. You've done flag football, boxing, a lot of fun activities, it seems. How has that helped continue to grow the team chemistry this offseason?
It's a lot of fun. My favorite Friday activity that we did was probably flag football because, like, our team is very competitive. And so it was really just fun being out there, getting to play football with my teammates because not too many teams get to do that type of fun stuff. So we really soaked in all of that, really had a great time. So, yeah.
And I'll just add our strength and conditioning coach, Maddox, he's really great at just trying to keep us engaged and involved. And because we're not really a go get on the line, sprint. They try to keep it fun and just make everyone want to be there. So with the Friday workouts, the boxing, the flag football, it's definitely been a nice touch that they added, and it's definitely appreciated. So doesn't go unnoticed.
So it looks like Coach Norvell might have a couple of new recruits out there, bring them over to Mackey Stadium to suit up for the Wolfpack. Fellas, I appreciate you taking some time for us. Good luck to both of you. Congratulations on the preseason honors, and look forward to you playing here in no time on November 9th.
Thank you.